Halo Infinite, we're going to be doing a map tour of all of the launch maps in the game, whether that's from the arena to the big team battle experience. So we're starting here with what? Aquarius, I know, right? And liking the video is probably a great thing because this is going to be a lot of work, and subscribing is great as well. So this map is fairly symmetrical. It mirrors itself pretty easily, so it's not too hard to understand. So we've got this like middle kind of like bridge area and then a lower spot. You can kind of go down the middle, or you can go down to the lower lanes, and the top part kind of feeds into the two back sections. But yeah, this is the main kind of stake of operations in this match. You will spawn down here on either side, rush up, and there will be people shooting at you because the other team spawns right across there. You can go in a couple directions from here. You can run straight down and go that way, or that way, or that way. There's also a neat little ledge you can jump up there and kind of get up to the middle really fast. You can also use this as a bit of a viewing point. Somebody coming from this way, say with a flag and whatnot, you can shoot at them, or you can jump up and get a little bit more of a vantage point. Keep in mind, it's pretty hard to shoot people running along here, but you do get a small window of opportunity if they do. There's also this option to kind of move into this room, but we're going to quickly just backtrack a little bit and show off another option from the spawn. So alternatively, instead of running straight up, you can go to the right, you can go to the left. These are like little small areas that kind of take you to other points of the map, and they could be quite helpful. So here there's also a few little corners that you might find to be little helpful spots to kind of, cover or hide behind. Usually your flag spawns right around there, so you want to defend your flag, and there's lots of little places you can kind of use as cover. So let's go and make our way around here. So this room is mirrored straight across there, so it's just like an open little spot, some crates, doorway here, doorway there, pretty easy. And then you're entered right into the middle, where you got an overshield or an active camo kind of respawning over and over again in that spot. So you can see here you could drop down, and like I mentioned, it's a really cool place if you come down here. So this is actually a great spot for cover. You can sit there, kind of crouch, shoot over stuff, see down that way, see down that way. Good. But if you got the flag, you're jumping down, I got the flag, you can use this to quickly get up to the middle of the map and give yourself a lot of cover. It's a really good spot. So coming down here from that room, you can see it's a bit open here, and it kind of leads down to the middle. Again, very small, very simple map, but lots of complexities to it. So you can either continue that way, or you can actually jump up here and jump up there. Get a little bit of a sprint going on, though, makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, you can get right back into the middle very easily. So we're continuing along, again, same room design, same setup. And then you come over here to the spawn, a little bit of a drop area. You see somebody coming up here, you can hit them in the back and stuff. But yeah, you can see how this side is basically mirroring the other side perfectly. Which moves us to the next phase. So this side, again, this is mirrored the same over on the other side. But it's a little bit more open, but yet at the same time quite split in regards to you using this as a spot that you can use for cover, or just kind of like, keep away from your enemies and surprise them. Once again, you can come up here, but it is blocked off this way, and you can get back to the middle. But what I was talking about is, like, it's actually neat. You can just like drop down here, and you got this really, really closed off area that's got a lot of protection, but yet dangerous corners that you can get stuck in and kind of eliminate. Usually a shotgun or so sits there. And yeah, again, same on this side, and that is the Aquarius level. Let's jump into the next one here, because I think that covers this one pretty effectively. This is Bazaar, which actually might be my favorite map in the game, I'm thinking. One of the top ones. Anyways, very simple spawns that, again, symmetrical on both sides. Pretty easy going. So we spawn kind of up here. This is where your flag would be as well. So you can either go up here to a kind of building a closed off sort of scenario spot, and you can kind of sit on the other side of this bar. It's actually a good little thing to kind of get people, get a little bit of cover as you shoot them coming in. And you go out that way, which we'll show a bit later on. So then you have a few different ways to actually enter here. You can climb up this way, you can climb up this way, and that's how you get to the spawn very fast. There's also a staircase here if you just want to do that. And then a little bit of a, I want to call it almost a ramp, a launching pad of sorts, so you can jump out into that area and kind of go that way. But here's a really good line of sight. Usually a needler spawns there, but little hiding spots on both sides. But just a really good line of sight in this general spot. You can see people coming that way, you can see them coming this way. And then, yeah, you can kind of shuffle around here and get an even longer line of sight. If you have like a rifle or whatnot, you get to see people coming that way, which is kind of neat. So this is the next section, and you see this on both sides. It's just a nice little structured square area. Some people camp there, some kind of, I don't really see too many cap there, but it's actually a pretty good spot if you just waited for them to come down the stairs. They probably wouldn't even notice you. But just stairs. You climb up here, pretty easy going. And then the central portion of the map. So we've got the rockets over there. Typically the rockets, the grapple hook, grappling hook there. And then active camo and or the overshield will be in that spot. So again, you can see the entryway into this little saved, closed off building here. Usually you get like a rifle of sorts there. And you can use this stuff as cover, and some of the signage can like fall off and stuff, which is kind of neat. But then you get these small rooms. A lot of people use these as cover. They hide there, but grenades usually blow people up. You throw a grenade in this way or that way, people die in here. So then we got another area. You don't want to get caught down there because this is usually like a danger zone. People throw grenades and you die easily. But it's a good little place to kind of hop along. And again, see on this side, it's basically the exact same mirrored as that side. So pretty simplistic as you go into the spot, exact same scenario and setup. So let's go into the middle here. A cool little spot is basically running between here, because this can give you just enough cover from people that you can escape and get your shields going. So don't forget that that is there. It'll give you just a few seconds just to kind of get out of the way of somebody. There's nothing like that on this side, just little corners that you can kind of hide in. Now, a big thing here is a lot of people underestimate actually sitting in this spot and kind of like shooting at people. I don't really suggest doing this a lot of the time, but you might get an edge on somebody. But a thing I really love that people don't use enough of are these pillars. Really good little hidden spots. You don't have the higher ground, but they give you a big vantage point of the map from here, where you can really get those shots off where people aren't going to be looking, because most players go up there or they go up there, but they rarely ever use this area. And you can see that it's mirrored on that side, which is kind of neat. So now you could see here, you could, I don't see anybody do this ever, but I see a lot of people that kind of sit here and they'll kind of wait for somebody to come in, or even better off, they'll use this corner, because you can jump up here on like this barrel and you can kind of camp this and people come in. They won't even look and notice you because it's so like closed off in regards to its setup. Then you come into the middle, so you can either climb there and go up there, or you can walk up the steps. Or you can take a slightly more tactical route, which is basically coming from, see the spawn over there, running this way, jumping, and jumping again to get up to this spot. And then you can, if you time it well, you can actually jump in between these pillars and get to the rocket pretty fast. But I think the fastest route to the rocket is actually kind of running straight across and coming this way or down the middle there. At least from what I've seen, some people seem to outrun me. I think that's odd, but it's interesting. Here's vents. This will drop you down to the basement on both sides. And then we'll actually show off the basement. But first, you can hop on this thing, you can hop on this, and then you can hop over here. And again, 100% the same on the other side of the map too. Pretty easy going. So this is the basement. You might hover and kind of cover here, but grenades will bounce down, they'll kill you, so you don't want to stay in this spot too long. Here's the basement, lots of corners, people camping them, usually that corner, this corner. Don't see too many people in that corner, but, you know, it's basically the same design. Shotgun right there, pretty easy going. But yeah, that kind of covers Bazaar. I'll just quick trip around here. You can see that it's the exact same setup, just a slightly different structuring in, you know, how it looks, but exact same layout. And a pretty simple and easygoing map that I think is decently competitive. This is Behemoth, which is another symmetrical map, and one that's a little bit more geared towards vehicles. So your objective will kind of be there as a flag, but you spawn in the back here, and you can see very cleanly that there are vehicle lanes that go around the map, and some vehicles for you to use as well. So this is pretty simple. You run up here, and you have a bunch of different options. You can go off the grav lift to that side, or the grav lift to that side. Those towers are the same on both sides, just a slightly different layout, although most of the combat happens on that side. So you can alternatively come straight down here, and you'll have multiple options. You can go up that way to get to kind of a middle spot, or go up this way to get to that middle spot, or there's an overshield and or active camo down the middle, little tiny bridge. We'll talk about that a bit more later on. And here usually you get some sort of weapon. I think it's usually a needler that I've seen. And yeah, let's jump up and let's begin making our way to the open of the map. So there's a lot of little smaller rocks here or there that you can take advantage of. You know, you can kind of hide along all these little things. It's very open, but most people just kind of stay towards the center of the map because that's where most of the conflict happens. So up here in this tower, you know, a lot of people kind of sit on either side of these to kind of get a little bit of cover, but you're so open no matter where you go when you come up here. You'll also notice that if you come down here, you'll find a weapon against that. And it's, again, a little spot that you could just kind of go and use as cover if you want to move around the edge and be stealthy. It doesn't really make sense, but, you know, it's an option. And then up here is such a deadly spot. It's so dangerous. Like, people usually like shoot you, or they'll throw a grenade over and it'll come down and kill you and stuff. So be careful being up here, because again, you're visible too. You can see everything on the map, but you're so vulnerable here. The bridge section in the middle, nobody uses it, but you know, it's there. So keep that in mind. You can go down that way, or you can go down this way. But here, if we go down, we'll actually show off a pretty cool spot. So you can use this, or, you know, same on that side, except we'll show off the opposite side this time around. You can take this to get right into the spawn. What? I know. So the spawn would be right there, and we'd be coming in, and that's a neat option. You can also drop straight down to where we picked up the beam. You know, beam rifle down there. I think it's a beam rifle. I don't know what it is. Oh, the sentinel beam. Sorry, there you go. So, I mean, it's a beam of swords. So that's where you find that you go straight down, or from the middle, it kind of takes you here. Nobody ever seems to use this, but it actually is a really good strategy point to get to the middle. So like I said, grab lift, and you can see the side, exact same as the other side. And this is where we get some little bit of fun. So you can come down this way, and you can either go down there to get back to the spawn section, go down this little bit of cover, which can protect you if you're going down the middle of the map, or you can take this route and kind of jump down here, grab the overshield. And I think that is a great advantage to actually just jump down there and save your time in grabbing it. So that basically covers Behemoth. Again, it's perfectly symmetrical between both sides, and it offers a lot of conflict in unique ways because it is a very different map. This is Deadlock, which is a big team battle map, so BTB. And it's not huge, but it is something a little bit harder to cover, so hopefully we'll be able to go over the main points. So this is the spawn. It's basically this big base, and it's essentially the same, but slightly different in regards to the symmetrical style of this one. You'll see what I mean as we go around the map. So you can come down here, get a vehicle, bunch of different like spots where you can grab your weapons and whatnot. So you go down that way, that's a cave area. You go down that way, it's a bit more of an open lake spot. So let's go down the middle. You can see we've got a shade turret, a little bit of a defensible little outpost spot there. But then you can go to the top of the base, and this is going to give you a clear vantage point over the majority of the map. Lots of little cover points, seeing down there and seeing the caves that way. So then there's a giant central kind of turret in the middle, and that's got a lot of little rock caverns. We'll go there later. So let's move around the outside. So this side features a tower of power. Oh yeah, you can kind of use little spots below it as well. A big point of this map is a bunch of little rock kind of carvings that you can kind of use to sort of cover yourself as you move around. There's a fun toy in the down pelican here. But yeah, you can use all kinds of little rock spots, climb up to different vantage points, and kind of find little places that give you an edge when you're fighting against others. Here is a small outpost, and this is the same as on the other side. You get a vehicle there, and you can tell very clear vehicle lanes carved out through the map. And then once again, exact same on this side. You get a bunch of little base setup, a kind of outpost here, and then we move around. But the difference here, in opposition to the kind of tower sentry, is that the tower of power, I called it, is a bridge on this side. So that's a little bit different, and a very good vantage point, because it's actually quite open, and it gives you like cover where you can kind of see over to the whole map, right? So it's actually a really good spot if you got like a sniper and whatnot. So this is the cave. One team here has the high ground, the other team has the low ground, but it's quite carved out to the point that you get cover kind of just sitting down there, so it's kind of neat. Let's move into the middle portion of the map. Again, lots of rocky formations that you can use for cover, you know, like right here or right here, and you can see very clear vehicle lanes, and then higher up spots that aren't really meant for vehicles where people would be moving around. Maybe you'll find the odd hidden weapon or two if you're looking. So I really like to use the kind of like legs of this turret as, you know, kind of a cover point. You can use it to shoot around there, shoot around here. It just gives you a little bit of cover, because this can be a very open area in the middle of the map, and they try to segment it a little bit, but I don't think they do a very good job of that. But yeah, that's basically the gist of what this level is. It's not too complex, and it's actually, if you think about it, kind of small for big team battle, like most of the big team battle maps are. This is Fragmentation, which is another symmetrical map. You have a large base here, and it's mirrored on the other side as well. So either you get the grav lift that'll launch you off into a big like rock formation over there, or you can kind of walk down. You got these like rocky cavern sides that you can sort of like walk up into the, you know, the outskirts of the map. But it is kind of dense in terms of lots of rock cover that you can use, and a bunch of different ramps that'll take you different places. So we've got very clear vehicle lanes and very clear people lanes and or Spartan lanes. A bunch of vehicles that you can find everywhere, and of course randomly dropping vehicles too. We'll show that spot off in a bit. So you come into the middle of the structure, we get a bunch of weapons and exit ways to get out of this location. Pretty cool, pretty easy going. Kind of, well, not a power weapon, but, you know, kind of a marksman type rifle you'll find over against that rock like I showed. So here's another option for getting into the base, is you'll find that there are these lifts available on the outside that'll just launch you back right up to where we were. And again, lots of higher rocky spots that you can use as cover. So here, you got like a little bit of a clear structuring with a bunch of different ways to kind of get to it. So you go along the tops of the rocks or come down the path where there's like a back area here you can use to get up. Pretty easy going. And yeah, this one, it's kind of complex, but in terms of density, but it's really, there's not much to it. You'll find a lot of little rock islands where you might find a weapon. There's explosives over there. And again, those clear kind of vehicle lanes, and you can use little bits of elevation to give you a hand as you kind of try to shoot others, and take advantage of that, because, you know, the high ground is the important ground, so you can even get up like high ground there. This is like a weapon cache. It'll sort of open and whatnot, so that's kind of cool. Hack the door and stuff. Pretty neat. And yeah, a cool little spot here is you can actually climb up on the top there, and then use this as a really good vantage point into that spawn. But as you can see, we get to this side, and it's basically mirroring the exact same setup where you've got like this rocky outcrop area where you can get up with different ramps, the big base, you can go underneath the base, little exits from the base, same setup. So in the middle, we've got this like tunnel area that'll lead you right into the central structuring, and that's kind of a good cut through, but you can just go around in a complete circle of that main area. You'll find yourself kind of wandering and using maybe these pylons as little spots that you can jump up. And yeah, as you can tell, this side exactly the same as the other side. Just slight adjustments to the rock geometry. Nothing too wild. So as we move around here, you see the weapon cache up there for this side. And you'll find the explosive that we kind of pointed out on the other side to be right here. It changes what it is, so you might find it useful, you might find it not useful. And then we go down the middle here, and there's usually like a shotgun on both sides, and then you've just got this small, quick little place where you can hide off to the sides with little bits of cover, or you can use a grappling hook to just kind of swing your way through to the other side. Very easy going, not a whole lot to this one. This is the explosive that we talked about, and as you can tell, you know, it's just kind of a circular type setup that has two circles to the outside that would basically represent the two bases, and this is Highpower. Little puffy clouds out there that don't move because it's static. Anyways, vehicle lanes and two bases make up what is another symmetrical map design. The bases have a lot of different places you can kind of jump up on in order to get to the higher points a little bit faster, but you have very clear, you know, high perspectives that you can use here. You could possibly get a little bit of a jump up in different directions as well. And yeah, it's kind of a very straightforward and good vantage point. So another vantage point that's good is up there. You can use little lifts to kind of get you up there, but you can see here we've got clear carved vehicle paths that kind of take you all the way around the map and right to the middle there. And yeah, there's that kind of lift, so we'll take that in a sec. You've got a little tiny little rock path that you can take that way, or you can walk around and go on those paths. So pretty easy going, this one. Again, another one of the very simplistic big team battle options that are present. So this takes you up here, you can grab the sniper, and you can see basically right into their spawn, and that their base is essentially the same on that side. So this side is a little bit different because there are little, you know, you can say upper areas that you can go to. You can come up that way, and there's just like these little, you know, kind of cut off spots that you can use to get around in case the open of the map is too dangerous, right? You're going to want to be smart about how you're moving through the Halo experience because you don't want to just get shot up. Then again, Big Team Battle doesn't have the battle rifle, so I mean, not like anybody's going to be shooting from a distance anyways. So this portion of the map here is a little bit of a random rock outcropping. You can either use this to kind of get a vantage point on the tower and some spawns on either side, or you can use it just to move around really quickly, noting the weapons there. Kind of some explosive and marksman-like weapons appear there. So the spawn here, exact same. It's just a little smaller, if that makes sense, a little bit more dense. And it does actually provide a little bit more cover. There's the grab lift to kind of pop yourself out. So that's pretty easy going. And you'll see like this little middle structure here, a bit of cover there, a bit of cover there. And that's kind of really all this map is. There's not a whole lot going on in this one in terms of the setup. You know, you've got your base right there, you kind of move your way around, and you'll find that once again we're connecting right to where we were at the beginning, except you got a little bit of a low ground scenario here, which is kind of neat. And then you come up here, and this was the little tiny passageway that I was talking about at the beginning. This little tiny, almost cavern-like spot, and you can see that's where we were just moments ago up at the top of the tower. So this one is a very simple kind of map. I mean, I don't think it's too complex to understand, and I hope that kind of covered this one decently well, because it is, I don't know, it's just kind of easy flowing. This is Launch Site, which is a very hard map to describe, and it's a really weird level because it's kind of too big for 4v4, and it's too small for big team. It's weird and really poorly balanced gameplay-wise. So you've got some vehicle options over there, and then a lot of little structuring areas where you can kind of climb around, get to different places, and basically bases on both sides. It seems as though it was designed for one flag or single type capture objectives, because there's so many random spawn points for different weapons. There's a grav lift, I'll take you to the middle, we'll show that off in a bit here. So you can kind of run up there, and they'll take you right to the middle of the map, but we're going to move around the outside a bit, because I think that's going to give the best perspective on what this map is like, because it gives you a lot of very narrow lanes, but yet is very open. So there's the overshield. Note that there are a lot of these coils all over the map that you can throw at your enemies, which is kind of neat. And a lot of vehicles that look like things you could drive, but you can't, so that's fascinating. Usually the objective is over there, but you get a very good line of sight here, and the same from over there too with a rifle. So this is where you would come up with the grav lift. You come into this little structuring spot, get a little bit of cover and whatnot, but you can't shoot out those windows, so it's a bit useless. There's a slight lower area here you could use for like a bit of stealth or flag movement if you want to stop bullets. And again, you can climb up there if you want a bit more of a linear path. So this spot here, this will take you right back into the spawn area, again where those vehicles are. And very open here, so you can take that lift in order to get to the lower section there. So that might be helpful if you want to immediately get over there. Or you can go over here, and there are little tiny vent spots you can kind of use to get down to some lower locations, which is neat. If you want to go that way, since that will be where that lift kind of launches you off. And then we'll kind of show, I don't know if we need to show off the linear side there, but you can kind of jump there, jump into that spot, second level 2. Let's get over here. So this is a good little vantage point for seeing most of the map. If you have a rifle, you can kind of see where everybody's coming from. And you can see that's where we kind of were coming from there. And this is where the overshield is, so you can see we're on the other side now. Here's a little sneaky spot you can use up at the top, kind of get into the control room, or you can just walk right through, you know, pretty simple. You can also use this to climb up to the second level balcony area if you want to. And you can see here, this is a good vantage point, like I had mentioned when we were on the other side of the map. You come around here, you get another point with a rifle. And it's also a spot where you could just jump over to there if you really wanted to. You know, kind of connect over to that spot quickly, since it's a little bit more elevated. This is where the objective usually is around this spot. And you can see the grav lift would go down, not to there, but right below there. And this is this spawn. So this one has that open entryway, we were just over there. And then you come around, you get some vehicles to play with if you want. A little bit of a, I want to say like an outpost type structuring here almost. With a vehicle lane, like the whole thing's basically designed around vehicle play, but yet at the same time, vehicles don't seem to make a big part of this. So this is that lower area where I was talking where the grav lift would come down. Also the vent, if I hope you saw it, as you could drop down there right there. But that lift would take you right down to over here. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of this map. There's lots of little hidey type spots you can get to. But it's really weirdly balanced, and I don't know if this one really works. I think this is like the one map I actually don't really like that much in this game. It's super awkward. This is Live Fire. I don't love this map, but it is a pretty simple one to cover. So if you're spawning on this side, like this is very asymmetrical to this map. Spawning on this side, you can go left here and kind of get to the outside where that tower structuring is right over there. You can go down the middle to the caves where you'll find like a shotgun. You can rush down the middle of the map for the power weapon, which is usually a sniper, and nobody does that. Or you can go to the right down here, which gives you another option to the caves, or to the open where you'll find the active camo, or alternatively the overshield as well. So coming here, you'll note that up there, great vantage point for shooting down to people that are here. This provides a lot of cover, believe it or not, this circle, you can climb it, you can sit around it, pretty helpful. So this is very open, I suggest not being here, kind of take that little tiny narrow spot up there to get to the middle, or you can go down here to get to the caves, same on the other side. This is a ramp section. So this is where kind of the other team's going to spawn around here, and you can basically use this block to kind of get up to the tower. People love using the oddball up here, or maybe sniping occasionally, since it does give you the best lanes, but it's such a segmented map, you don't really get a lot of sniping options. So we move around to the outside, little pillars for cover that I quite like. You can jump up here and use this to kind of get up to this spot. You can see just like a bridge here. Again, kind of some different lanes that you can use for cover and just kind of like advantage points where you can see people coming up. So we spawned over there and we were coming out here. This was the tower that I shot at and highlighted. So this is a spot for cover, grabbing a marksman type weapon, shooting down there, or also monitoring people going down into the caves, which is kind of cool. You get lots of little cover points here, little lower variations of cover that you can use. You can also sit here and kind of use this as cover. There's an objective typically around here, this circle. This spot is weird because they should have a grab lift here. I don't know why it doesn't. It just makes logical sense too. And then a dangerous area where you can kind of get pushed off the map. But you can also climb up here. A lot of people don't know that. You can actually climb up on this little section. It may sound silly, but you know, for a brief moment, it can actually give you a huge advantage. You can take that from your enemy, just having this like verticality. And back to the spawn. And now let's head down the middle of the map in regards to the caves. First, the caves. So the caves, again, we were over there, and we looked over that way, but now we're coming in this way. Shotgun, people can drop down to this area from up here, and you can see, you know, again, this entryway there, we started over there, and then we make our way around, and we got a little bit of a cover spot here, coming up from the spawn. Again, you spawn there. Earlier in the map, we were over there. See this vantage point here, good spot. And then you come down the middle, and it's just like a little narrow lane. It's pretty simple, and the drop-down spot I mentioned earlier to the shotgun. This is that little pathway I mentioned. Pretty simple flowing of a map, not a whole lot of complexity to it. This is Recharged, which is a hydro-type plant or generator or whatnot. So very open area here. You can see this spawn. The other team will be spawning over around, you know, back in that a little bit to the corner more. So you get a few different options from here. You can either go up these little, you know, kind of blocks in order to get up to that spot. You can climb right here, or you can climb there and kind of run through that spot. Or you can run around here and get to a lower point where you might find the graph hammer or the energy sword. Let's take the left. So this is just a small little spot, but actually a good spot for cover. Get a vantage point on those people, on people coming from there. And it could protect you from grenades and whatnot if people are chasing you. This area is very open, very vulnerable. You never want to be in the open there. So typically you jump up here, you grappling hook up here, and then you get a very good vantage point over the rest of the map. That's also a good vantage point. So is over there, surprisingly. So you can see here, these things, they kind of move a little bit, you know, to a degree, so you can kind of hide behind them. They're good little blockades. And you can jump down into the middle. Some people use this as cover if they're shooting people that are down below. Then you've got like this small little room. But let's jump around here. See, this is a platform. You might find a weapon here. Usually the grappling hook's there. So I like to hop between these different spots, finding things, you know, kind of using that. And you just use them as very good cover spots. And again, a lot of people chill around this spot. So you come here. This staircase leads you down to right where we were just 2 seconds ago. You see the spawn over there. And we continue around. This is just like a back area that you can kind of use to get around. You're perfectly safe. A lot of people chuck grenades down this hallway. It's a death place. And once again, this will take you right up to this spot. See? Very easy going. And let's continue around. So they usually get a needler and whatnot here. This is a ramp that'll take you over to this building, but also you can see this area is very vulnerable taking this, and overshield and whatnot will spawn there, or active camo. And little spots where you can kind of hide around. You know, you can use those to jump up to there. You can hide around these little spots. People die very easily here. I see a lot of people hide in this corner. You're just going to get shot. You're better off just trying to face off against whoever's shooting you. Then we come around here. Lots of different options to kind of move around. Different elevation points. You can jump up here. Use this as a little spot. Most people don't actually even notice you up here, which is nice. Then you've got like a staircase to go up that way. You can walk around under here. A lot of people use this spot to kind of jump up to here because this is where the oddball usually gets like placed. People like camp with it around there. So it's a neat little spot there. And then you come out to the open. This is a vantage point like I mentioned from over there. Come around to this structuring, exact same setup, marksman rifle, very good vantage point over there. The marksman rifle is actually on that part of the wall on that side too, if you missed it. So you can do a little back and forth shooting here to bring your grenades across. You know, stuff like that. Pretty effective. And a shot down to the overshield or into that area. Yeah, you're well protected. And then you've got the staircase. A lot of people kind of like to do, like, you know, a little bit of a jump and they climb up that way. Or they use this little spot for cover around here because that'll take you to that room. And let's finish off with the kind of blue spot. So we talked about how to get up to this area, and that's where we kind of started. It was right here, this spawn, and then that little area there was that outcrop we went to. Great viewing point of people that are picking up the grappling hook, but you're not going to do a whole lot of damage unless you got a rifle, and most people that stand here don't. So this is lots of little cover spots here. I personally love this ledge. So you can't really get to this ledge from there, but, you know, you can. I don't think you can actually jump here, but you can, like, grapple up to it, and I love to use this little spot, that ledge up there. I get on there a lot, and I kind of shoot people from up there. So here's where the dangerous weapon is. You have to jump across to get it. Make sure you're careful on actually jumping across, because I've died a few times trying to do that. And then there's just this really glowy pipe area that leads you out into the open of the map where the overshield is. Pretty straightforward, this one. This is Streets, which could be the best map in the game. This or Bazaar. I really like this one. It's asymmetrical. It's a really neat design. So if you're spawning here, you're going to be running down the middle, hopefully to get the rockets. Or you could come around here and they've got like a really neat sort of vantage point of the street area where people go that way or they'll go that way. You can climb up here using this like trash bins here from that spot. You can see people there. You can also see a little bit of the middle of the map too. Yeah, could support your teammates that are rushing to get those rockets. This room is pretty open, but you find that the oddball ends up kind of being up there, around here. So this area, again, a little open spot. You can use this for cover. People might not actually notice you if you're crouched, and you can just kind of pop up and be like, hello! And then this is like as most of a tower sniper spot as I think you really get in this game. You can get people that go up on that ledge in the middle, get people that are over there, or you can shoot people that are over this way. You'll find spike grenades typically here. You can grab those. Little pillars, not much for cover. You know, kind of neat spots. So you can take those stairs to get up to that part of the map, run down the middle, run down that lane, or you can run out the outside. Typically find a shotgun there. This is a slightly elevated spot, so you can shoot people down this straight line of sight, or that are in the tower, or get a little bit of cover from the people that are over this way. So let's go down the middle. So we've got this little off spot that you can kind of climb up to if you need to. This is where people that grab the rockets usually go, is down this way. If you crouch down there with the rockets, you're going to get grenaded by somebody that's over there. You're just going to die. So yeah, usually grab the rockets and then you head that way really quickly to see if you can escape. You can also jump here and jump up here to get to this spot. So let's get around here. A little bit of cover there. You can use that corner. Kind of helps you shoot out to the middle. And this is where the other team's going to spawn, is right around here. And there's this little tower. Gives you a huge sort of viewing point of people rushing down. That's why the rockets are such a contention spot, is because the two sides kind of meet right away with grenades. Wrong grenade for me to shoot. But you gotta throw in, you know, you get shooting people that way. You get what I'm talking about. So this is a little police station type thing there. I think it's a police station type spot. I know this is the police department. I think this is attached to it. We were just over here, so you can actually, you know, you see this climb up. You kind of see where the rockets are. You can like shoot down on people there. You can come around this way, and you can go into this little base, or you can jump up on here, get a good viewing point of this part of the map, and also this part of the map. And you can alternatively jump from those green little plants up to here as well, if you'd like to. I love that little spot. Great vantage point. That is where a lot of people use the oddball. They hide in this corner. And I mean, it's actually kind of a little good spot if you think about it. So yeah, let's continue here. And like I said, jump there. Pretty easy going. This is a small little cutout place. A lot of people hide here. Cool music playing. Classic Halo Infinite sounds. Kind of neat, like a retro style. So yeah, a lot of folks actually get away from grenades hiding around these corners, which surprises me to the highest degree. So this is that staircase I mentioned earlier that you can kind of get up quickly. Those are the trash cans. You can climb up to get to there. And then finally, there's just like this little curve around little spot here that you could use for cover. Grenades come in here and kill people a lot. And then just this really awkward slope where it's kind of like, you know, you can't quite get the advantage on people that have that spot there. They have the high ground. And that concludes the tour of the Halo Infinite maps at launch. So I hope you found that helpful. Once again, liking the video is great, and subscribing is great as well, and I hope you found this to be an insightful look at some of the strategies around using the different levels and areas of the maps to your advantage.